Yikes, Joe.
Yikes. Whew.
Yikes. Yeesh. Yeesh. Lots of people saying yikes about things going on in their lawn right now, Joe.
Oh, yeah, me too.
This
Oh,
heat
man.
is not going anywhere.
No,
I got a
no.
funny comment on my YouTube short that I did yesterday. I didn't do a YouTube short. I just picked it out of a more recent video. A guy said, "I can tell you don't live in South Texas where it's hot and bone dry," and I was like, "You are correct."
It is. I'm noticing it today. Today's like the first day I really noticed it. Like there's a couple spots, those spots we talked about in our previous streams that they're starting to, they're starting to come back. So we're supposed to be getting some rain hopefully at the end of the week, but we'll see. We'll see.
It's been brutal here, but looking at the weekend, by this weekend we've got rain chances in the forecast, and this is so crazy that I get excited over this. But the highs are gonna drop back down into the low 90s, and then by the start of next week they're gonna be in the mid 80s. I mean, that's
Wow.
after it's been as hot as it's been. That's gonna feel like, dare I say, fall weather, but you can't jump the gun on
Nah,
fall.
not yet. Nah,
Fall doesn't come until
I know.
October.
This Sunday here in Jersey, it was beautiful.
Was
I
it?
thought it felt like fall weather, especially in the shade. It was definitely, cool. So,
Nice.
but
Hey,
yeah.
TTV, the Christmas sweater. Go back. Did you check out last week's episode? It was on July 25th, so it was Christmas in July. John, what's up, man? What is up? You were up 3 to 5 a.m. women's soccer last night. I want to retract my what no women. Okay. Joe, you recall what he was talking about?
Yeah. Unfortunately, they don't like singing the national anthem, so I will probably not be watching them. So.
What's up, John L? Hey, Joe, did you come up with a top 5 with 5?
I actually got a good one tonight. Somebody
Okay.
at my work, I was having trouble coming up with one. They gave me a good one, so it's gonna be it's a '90s theme. '90s.
Pat 90s. I like 90s because that was
I'm a '90s baby, so
see, I was growing up in the 90s. I was born in the 80s, but I still consider myself a 90s kid because that's when I was old enough to start remembering things. Like I still remember a lot of things from the 90s. Pat, you're going to be the star of the show tonight, at least one of the stars of the show. Does he know this, Joe, or did I just let the cat out of the bag?
I mean, hey, he sent me his picture, so we're gonna use him regardless if he wants us to or not. So it's not really his decision.
Pat,
But
do we need to get a materials release form from you for any images?
yeah, we gotta get a waiver.
Yeah. Oh,
If
some familiar faces in there, Joe. You said we were you had something to talk about in the pre-scalp. What
Yeah,
was
so
it?
so tonight is National Night Out. What that means is like police, like the police departments in different.
Oh my
communities
gosh,
get
Joe,
together.
stop. I thought this was about lawns instead of a BS session. Well, obviously you have not hung around for very long because if you had paid any lick of attention, you would know that the first 5 minutes of this is called the pre-scalp. It is the first 5 minutes before the show.
I mean, if you want to watch it,
starts.
yeah. If
But
you want to watch a timer, go watch other
Go
streams,
watch the timer. Actually, you know what? If you don't like talking about other things than grass, leave, unsubscribe. We don't need you here. My subscriber count goes down every single time we do this show, and that is perfectly okay because it tells me you're just not into the things that we're into here on the Budget Wooder Show. So see you later. Have a good one. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. Hey, maybe you're going out tonight for National Night Out. Joe, what is that?
So National Night Out is like the police in our community. They get together. They have hamburgers and hot dogs. We have a very big public park in our town, and they have like blow ups, like the bouncy houses. They got like all these like blow up obstacle courses.
That
They got,
last guy that was complaining, he would probably love to go bounce around on a bounce.
Oh my god! It's so we took the kids. It starts at 6. It's fun. They have different businesses in the community come and get together. There's a DJ.
How often do they do it?
Once a year.
Oh,
It's
once
a
a
once
year?
a year.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, once a year thing.
Very cool.
So,
No, it's not.
yeah, it's
something
cool.
It's not something we have here, but all the local communities do. Like tomorrow's a first Thursday or in 2 days, and then a first Friday. So there's always something out and about on the town squares, because we have squares around here on
I
the
know, I'm
first
jealous.
part of the month. Hey, Joe, guess what? It's
We
time to
live.
go,
We're hot.
baby. It is
Let's
time
go.
to go for the Budget Wooder Show. We already have our pre-scout tunes, Joe, but maybe sometime if you're musically inclined or you're a composer out there, maybe we need a jingle of some sort, Joe. Would that be fun? I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe a little
Yeah.
hokey, maybe a little corny.
That's actually a good top 5 for another time.
Ooh,
Top 5
top 5 jingles. Ooh.
Oh,
Let's
that's a good one.
hey, let's put that in the can for next week. But
Yeah.
hey, maybe about next week. Maybe this is as good a time as ever. Next week is the week there will not be a show. We've not been doing a show the first week of the month. Next week, August 8th, there will not be a Budget Wooder show. Okay, so you heard it here first. I will do my best to remind you in the community section before then, but there will not be a show next week. So that will put us back here on August 15th. Ooh, first week back to school with kids. I go back to school next week for teacher welcome week, but that'll be the first week back with kids. So that'll be an interesting show. Hey, this is the Budget Wooder Show, though, 9 o'clock Eastern Time, 8 o'clock Central, every Tuesday evening, except for next Tuesday or any other Tuesday we don't tell you. I'm Travis from the Budget Launch Channel, and Joe is joining me, as always, from Wooder Boy Productions. And if you're here for just grass, they can ask us some questions and we'll try to answer them. But we're not all about just grass here. If you're in the comment section, you're regularly chatting in the chat, you know that, and that's why you're here. So if you're here for just grass, you can be like, what was his name? Egalitarian 1776.
I mean, I like the 1776.
Yeah, that was
but,
kind of
you
cool.
know,
You can hit the
that was kinda
highway,
cool.
but he sounded
Yeah.
he kind of sounded like a little dork, if you ask me.
Or a fanboy.
Oh, or a fanboy. Hey, but every week.
It's our boy Harp undercover.
Oh, Harper. It probably is. It's probably Harper Explores. He's been hanging out in some questionable comment sections here lately, Joe. We need to go easy on him.
I think we should kick it off like we do every show.
Oh, yes.
Little today in history. There's two. Back in 1996, American author George R.R. Martin published it's called A Game of Thrones. The book was called, not Game of Thrones, but A Game of Thrones.
Kind of like Facebook just became
the Facebook.
Just take off that little, short word at the beginning.
Obviously, it was the first installment of his hugely popular fantasy series, and the rest, like they say, is history. And then in 1981, the cable television network MTV debuted it with the broadcast of the music video for Video Killed the Radio Star by the Bugles. I never heard of them. I don't know. But anyway, MTV. I think they're still kicking it a little bit, but I really don't know. I don't watch MTV too much anymore.
Back when MTV was good and Pauly Shore did all the spring break stuff down in Panama City Beach. I was actually I still go back and look at news stories and stuff and follow along my old TV station's website down in Panama City Beach where I worked out of college. And I saw an article on there today that Tootsie's Orchid Lounge, there's one in Nashville and then there's one in Panama City Beach, there's talks in the works where they may be moving into the old Spinnaker Beach Club down in Panama City Beach, which has been sitting vacant for years now. And then, of course, I get into that rabbit hole. I'm like, I wonder what Club La Vila looks like, the world's largest nightclub. Have you ever heard of both of these, Joe? Spinnaker and Club La Vila?
No.
Oh, my gosh.
Never heard of it.
Oh,
Sorry.
my gosh. Check them out. They're legendary. And so there I am on Google Maps doing the road thing, checking out to see what all that area looks like, because it's been years since I've been down there and seen them. But that was the good old days of MTV. Spring break, actually watching music videos, Real World and Road Rules.
TRL.
You had all that. Oh man. Now, what's Carson Daly? He's on Good Morning, the Today Show.
Yeah.
Hey, man, our guys.
I guess we better get back to grass.
Get back to grass. Get back to grass. They're going
They're coming for us.
They're gonna jump out of here
Ship.
in a heartbeat. Jump ship. Hey, speaking of grass, Joe, if you've got problems in your grass, look no further for solutions. Okay.
Okay.
Tonight's sponsor, and not only has every answer to every question, but it's just he's the lawn vigilante that we've all been waiting for, Joe.
I'm Lawn Man.
I've been waiting all day to see what. Keep it going. Keep it going. I want to hear this.
Don't call Doc or Ron. Call the Lawn Man. If you got grubs, got fungus, got overpriced fertilizer, come and see the Lawn Man.
Come and see him. How do you come and see him? You don't just stand out in your lawn and go, Lawn Man, I've got grubs. That's not how it works. And he just.
He does have his signal. Obviously it's the logo on there. So,
Are you there, Joe? Did you not switch your internet over the last week? Okay.
I did. The Lawn Man didn't come and fix it though. I kept putting up that signal, the bat signal to him, or the lawn signal to him. But yeah. But yeah, if you want a signal, if you want a Lawn Man signal, so he comes to your house, go to www.lawnman.com. Go check it out.
Is that a real? I bet you that is a real website. Somebody probably just got major advertising.
Yeah.
Advertising to 24 people, Joe. Let's bump those numbers up. Hey, thumbs up.
Be careful about that URL too. I don't know.
Oh yeah,
it could mean something else.
Yeah, don't go visit it. Vet your websites always. Hey, give us a thumbs up, comment, share this stream, all that jazz with your friends. Hey, and specifically tell your friends that aren't just here for the grass. But we're going to talk about some grass. We've got 3 lawns coming up in our Friends Appreciation post tonight that are dynamite. And I'm telling you, these 3 tonight they're awesome every week. But we've got 3 tonight since we're missing next week. And then I've already got something for 2 weeks from now, Joe. I'll have to talk to you about that. Hey, I did see a comment. Gamer, this is the $1 million question right now that everybody's asking about. How would you deal with watering grass when you're only home and it's 100 degrees in Central Texas?
Shit.
What? Will we be? Oh, Megan. Oh gosh. Are you laughing at John L?
Yeah, I got an update on that too.
Oh, okay, let's hear it. We're going to get an update on that. Breaking news. Joe has an update on the Luba. And
I'm a proud new owner of a.
Don't go there yet. Let's go there when we get to Elliott. Okay.
Okay.
Hey, look, I told somebody somebody asked me a question on a video talking about water in their lawn in this extreme heat, especially in a drought down in South Central, in East Texas. I've had to do this even in the northwest part of Arkansas. When it gets hot and it gets extremely dry, and you haven't seen water for weeks, you just got to pick and choose your battles. You could sit there and you could keep watering and throwing down 1.5 inches, 2 inches a week and racking up your water bill. Or you can just, and there's no shame in this, you could just say it is what it is and you can let it ride and just deal with it later. I've done that before. I'm not going to me, keeping the lawn lush and green during extreme weather conditions is just not something that is high up on the priority list anymore. If you would have asked me that 4 or 5 years ago when I was really just getting a grasp on lawn care, I would have told you differently. I would have thought, man, I really need to stay on top of this watering. But anymore, it's just not as important as it used to be. Yeah, my water bill. Hey, I was actually kind of pleased since I had the sod laid. The water bill was not as high as I thought, but it's higher than I want it to be outside of having to baby new sod to root. So yeah, if it's really that bad, you might just have to throw in the towel. No shame. Nobody's going to fault you for it. It's better than spending $1 bazillion on your utility bill. Hey, Joe, give us the Luba update, because then we're going to show somebody. Because Joe, last week Elliott was not excited about the idea that you had bad news for folks about the Luba Momotion robot lawnmower, because
we could throw up his picture if you want now, and then I could talk about it, just so people know what we're talking about. I mean, most of the people know what the Luba, the Momotion is actually the name of the company. But yeah, I mean, if you want to throw up his picture, and
Yeah,
then we can talk
Joe's
about it.
experience not quite as good as Elliot's down in Georgia, where he's been running that thing on. What did he say this was, Joe? Like 6 weeks old, Tiff Tough, Bermuda.
Bermuda, yeah, but I doubt the Luba is doing that design. Um,
So
uh,
that's what I wonder. Did he do that? Did he do that with
there's
the
no
Luba?
there. I mean, he probably unless he manually drove it himself. You can't program it to do that. Like, there's no way you can program
Unless
it to
he's
say,
a tech guru that
maybe,
knows
yeah,
something that would just
he.
be way
I
over
mean,
our pay grade.
maybe he reached out to Megan Wang and she said, "Hey, this is the cheat codes." I don't know.
Uh,
It's not Grand Theft Auto. I doubt it. But
Is he? You mean after last week, after he gave us hell for
I know
what did he
he's
say
not
that
even in the chat.
we blew off
Skipped
his
over,
pictures?
blew off his
And
picture. Yeah.
where are you, Elliot? You're not in the chat. But Elliot did send us this. He actually sent a real funny story about living in the South. He's obviously a BYU fan, which the Hogs beat BYU on their own turf last year. But he is doing this on 6 weeks old Tiff
looks
Tough
good
Bermuda with the Luba. So his
with the
experience
Luba.
different than Joe. Beautiful
So
property, beautiful house. Looks
so
really good.
I nagged the living shit out of them. On Reddit, on Gmail. Actually, Princess Cut, my boy George, he gave me what was his name? He man,
Steve,
or
was it Steve?
Steve He or something. Yeah, I emailed Steve He and I said I'm good friends with George, and
Oh, you name dropped.
I name
You
dropped.
did
I
the old
name
name
dropped.
droppy
Yeah,
droppy.
yep. And
And it
I
worked,
said
right?
Hey, I what was I? Oh, I was getting ready to leave for work this morning, and it showed up. I'm like, what? Like, I couldn't believe it, and I know that box was heavy.
Yeah, but
Uh,
unfortunately they only sent you the 1,000. It would have been nice to see the 3 or the 5 on there, right?
yeah, I mean, hey,
But you're not gonna complain.
Megan Wang came through. I might even like get like a little decal and call it the Wang. I'm debating what to call the Luba, because Luba is just a horrible name. I think the Wang sounds better. So I don't know, but hey, I hooked it up today. It mowed the lawn. I was able to map it
What's
out.
your biggest lesson you learned from the first time? Don't pick it up.
Don't pick it up. Like, if you have to pick it up, like, keep it low to the ground.
Joe, I think I
And
saw a video from somebody else who had a Luba.
oh, there's a couple people that have had this problem
But
now. And
somebody
on
I
the
think was maybe not directly not using your name, but I think he was referring to you dropping your
oh, really?
Luba.
Yeah.
Yeah. Remind
Like,
me after the show.
okay. Yeah. I'm curious
I
now.
think it was Real Low Dad did a video about it, and he said he saw a video of somebody that dropped it and it broke it. But I wasn't sure, and I meant to text you and tell you that I heard that,
Yeah.
but I lost.
Thanks, friend, for
Dude,
looking out for me.
I went back to work. I
Uh,
went back to work yesterday, and I didn't even get to working on this live stream until today. My wife's been back in her classroom getting school stuff started, and it is just thrown. You go from school mode to summer mode, and we're in that weird transition of going from summer back to school, and I have to figure out a whole new routine again. So I'm routine oriented, so I'm really thrown off right now. Oh, there he
the
is. There he is. There he is. Where you been? Have you been lurking? Have you just been hanging out in the background, seeing what we were going to say about you? He's here.
who?
Elliot's here. TR Play One.
That's
That's
him.
him. Yeah.
No, I don't know.
That's homie
But any
that we
you gotta change your username to something like,
that we can say like Elliot or
Elliot.
Luba Elliot or Elliot
Yeah.
dot Luba or something
I
like
love
that.
my Luba or something like.
Oh,
I
he
don't
was
know.
confused because we were talking. It's your grass, homie. Like we promised you. We're men of our word, aren't we, Joe? We say we're
Yeah.
going to do something, and we did it.
I did it. I got to it the next day on Wednesday last week. I got on it, and we had it ready for this week.
Yeah, and I acted like I felt bad last week. No, I'm kidding. I actually did feel bad. I did. Guys, if you don't know what we're talking about, if you're sending us a picture for our Friends Appreciation Post, anybody can do this. Send us a picture of your lawn. We'll put it on the show. Send it to me at mybudgetlawn@gmail.com or Joe at Waterboy Productions. Tell us your grass type, your location, and make sure you tell me or Joe that, hey, I want this to go on the Budget Wooder Show. Because last week I whiffed on Elliot's grass, and I do apologize because he sent a picture, and I didn't know it was for the show, and I didn't blow it off, but I didn't exactly, turn it into Budget Wooder Show material. So there you go. All right, Joe, sorry. I'm rambling. Take over.
Yeah. No, I'll have an update in a week or two. My lawn's a little bit higher than normal, so it definitely didn't cut as nice as I wanted it to. I had it go both ways, so it did crisscross.
I can imagine these are a lot better on shortcut turf.
I think so. We'll see. We'll see how the season goes. Who knows? It could break tomorrow, like it did last time.
Elliot, what height you cutting at here? Tell us in the chat. I gotta imagine it's I think you told us maybe around an inch, 3/4 of an inch. What did he say? I can't remember everything anymore. It looks good though.
I get a million emails every day, so I have no idea.
The downfalls to communication. You can't remember anything. I used to be able to remember everything.
But yeah, I mean, hey, his lawn looks good. Hopefully my lawn will look good, and Luba we'll see. I might have to boycott it though, so we'll see. I don't know. But
hey, they sent you another one. You're supposed to be making a video about how awesome it is, and their customer service is
their customer service is so
great. And like, if you could recommend one company, as long as everybody clicks the link below.
I only had to go on Reddit and threaten that I'll put out a bad review, and that I have a live stream every week with a guy named Budget Lawns. Like, I mean, I had to go through all these hoops. I know George. I mean, I had to throw all these.
When you said you were friends with George from Princess Cut, did they go, "Oh, we got to send it out"? They probably had that out the door before you even got off the phone.
They said, we're going to give you $5,000. I was like, what? No, I'm kidding. No.
Hey, I do want to say one thing. Western Mass Turf made a good point going back to the grass. I want to, Joe, we got to sprinkle a little bit of grass tips in there just to keep, the tongue, wet people's whistle, keep that carrot dangling. That was a good point. Watering enough to keep crowns alive is usually a practice here. Man, if it's just brutally hot and dry, throw a little water on it just to make sure it doesn't die, which is hard for Bermuda. But that's a good tip. I appreciate you adding that into the chat. Say what, Joe?
No, I just said no. That's all. I didn't say anything. I just said that's our first one for tonight. I think. I
see B-Raw. He's in the chat, and if I remember correctly, which I don't remember a whole lot anymore, B-Raw is up next.
Yeah, so this is a cool season mix. He's in Western New York. I guess I don't know what is considered Western New York. I don't know. I'm not an expert in New York. But I think, hey, it's green. It looks good. Yeah, no complaints. Right?
Yeah, Western New York. This is what's kind of cool.
All right, yeah, Buffalo.
Okay. We've been getting pictures in from all over the country, folks, but we have not been getting pictures in from west of like the central part of the country. Have we had some from Oklahoma? It seems like we had one from Oklahoma. I think we
had one. I think we had one from Oklahoma, but that's east of you. So
no, that's west of me. I'm east.
That's west.
I'm east of Oklahoma. Like here's
Yeah.
here's the Oklahoma Arkansas line. I'm like I can go like 30 minutes west and I'm in Oklahoma.
Okay.
So I'm really close to the Oklahoma border.
Yeah, I mean, hey, Buffalo, Bills Mafia, maybe. Oh man, those fans up there.
Hey, that looks good though. It's fun
good
to see different grass types from different parts of the country. I mean, just tonight we've got Georgia, New York, and Pennsylvania. So B-Raw, very, very good. Hey, what's your how to cut on this? What are you cutting this at? And it's a cool season mix.
Believe it or not, I was a geography runner-up in 7th grade.
In the geography B?
In a geography B,
boy.
yeah.
3 inches.
A long time ago.
Hey,
hey, 3 inches is better than 1 inch. So
see,
just saying
that's why it looks good. Okay, a lot of folks, used to, okay, here's how it kind of worked. You got into lawn care and you started watching YouTube videos, and everybody used to watch when they first got started back when he was kind of the only guy was a lawn care nut. And he was cool season at the time. And he always said, hey, raise your lawnmower to the highest setting and in the summertime and mow that way and you'll have the best looking lawn. Sure, that does work for especially cool season grass. Now, it can work for Bermuda too, but Bermuda starts getting a little bit leggy the higher you go. So you'll hear a lot of people or see a lot of people in comment sections on a Bermuda video. They'll say, you're mowing way too low. You should be cutting it 3 or 4 inches. It's the middle of the summer and it's really hot. Not true. Bermuda should be cut low, 1 inch, 3/4 of an inch. But this is proof in the pudding right here. If it's hot out and you got cool season grass, you should be mowing it high because it'll keep the color, it'll shade that soil, and it'll look awesome like B-Raw's got going here. I mean, look at this.
Yeah, and guys,
looks awesome.
just because you send a picture in, recently or this week or whatever, don't feel like you don't have to send one again. Please, by all means, send another one. Keep us updated throughout the year. If you're going through a bad stretch, let's see it. If it's looking good, send it again. Send another picture. We don't mind,
That's what I've got to, I don't get the Bermuda stressed. Yeah, I don't either. I mean, I guess it can if it is completely like bone dry. I mean, there's a tipping point for everything, but 98% of the time, Bermuda's not going to get stressed in the heat. Joe, it's funny you said that because Chatvol, remember we used one of Chatvol's pictures earlier this summer when we just started doing this? He sent me some pictures after his summer scalp, his Haida Cut reset. So I've got those sitting in the inbox, and he's going to send me update pictures. So in 2 weeks, we can see how far along his lawn came in 2 weeks from a summer scalp to recovery. So that'll be really cool to see. Very cool. B-Raw, keep up the good work, man. Thank you for sending that in. It looks freaking awesome. Hey, we've got one more, and this guy's no stranger to the show. Joe, I'm just now, and look, I want y'all to really keep your eyes peeled on this one. Keep them nice and peeled on this next one, because Joe's really doing me dirty here. But Joe, you didn't tell me that we didn't have Pat's full blessing, but again, does it really matter here on the Budget Wooder Show?
No, this is my boy Philly Pat. Pat's a near and dear friend of ours of the show, and
he and Joe haven't been fighting a whole lot here lately. That sure as hell would make things a lot more interesting.
He's my boy. I mean, we go back and forth. We text. I mean, I'm been really busy the last couple of weeks, and I haven't been the most best text buddy in the world, but yeah, he sent me a slew of pictures. He sent me pictures today of his landscaping and told Travis he's got to get his shit together for his landscaping. So, yeah, I mean, Pat's got a beautiful lawn. It's a shame. I was actually up near his area picking up something off of Facebook Marketplace, but he wasn't home, or I would have probably stopped by on my way back and saw this in person because it looks great. I mean, that Haida Cut looks great. I mean, there is some, pea stains there from Travis.
Yeah, Pat just said Travis is making those peas. But when I saw that, when I was putting it in, so when Joe sends these over, I look at the little thumbnail in the text in the email, but I don't really open them and check everything out. When I opened it up full screen today and saw me standing there taking a leak all over Pat's lawn, I was like, "Yeah, screw you, Pat. I'm gonna mess up your lawn. Screw the dog." I'm kidding, Pat. I love you. Sometimes when you and Joe fight, that's the best time. It looks great, dude. Looks good.
Yeah, I mean, that's beautiful grass for the Philly suburbs. A true Philadelphian. Pat, I give you my blessing.
Hey, not to get off of Pat, but hey, B-Raw, that's awesome to hear. Tell your wife thank you. We also tell your wife thank you for letting us borrow you and become one of our friends here on the show for just a short period of time. Once a week. Tell her thank you for that, and keep up the good work on the lawn, my friend. Hey, Pat, Joe said you think you've got the best landscaped lawn in all of Philadelphia, and it sounds like you're kind of putting the pressure on me to make sure that when I do my planting in the spring, that it sounds like I have to hit a home run or you're going to be disappointed.
Yeah, you got some work to do because his like I well maybe we'll feature him in 2 weeks with his landscaping because he does. He's got a nice. There's very. I like the landscaping where there's like a detail to it, and there's not. You just don't throw a bunch of stuff into the beds, and you kind of like layer it, kind
It's
of like like a different colors and
it's
different
not all spaced out like you
Yeah,
have
yeah,
you have like
yeah.
sections
My
of certain
yeah, my
plants in it.
and that's how my dad used to do it with landscaping was like put taller bushes in the front, kind of and bring it, smaller into the front, give it more depth and different colors to, some bushes are, they're all green year round, some are yellow, whatever. So we kind of always tried to play with, colors and make things like look good all year round.
At
You
my
know,
old house, if you remember my old one, I tried to make it like stadium style,
Yeah,
like
no,
boom, boom,
I
boom, boom,
you're
boom.
yeah, those beds look really great. So
And
you got your work cut out for you, that's for sure.
and Pats are awesome, man. Like I see Bill. Hey, what's up, Bill? Bill saying he misses Pat's videos. I miss Pat's videos too, because I used to like listening to Pat's because that whole Philly accent, it would always draw me in. And then I
Yeah.
came across Joe's, and I was like, oh my gosh,
I
these
do I
guys.
do I do miss Pat's videos because I do enjoy listening to his he's he's got the true Philly accent,
I
so,
mean, it is like thick. They always talk about thick Southern accents. He's got that thick Philly accent, no
Yeah.
doubt. But Pat, you have set the bar high when it comes to the landscaping, and if you followed along here on Budget Lawns or even the Budget Wooder Show, you know that I have
It
always
is
said
Pat.
that I have always said that landscaping is what really makes the lawn beautiful. Like, I think too many people have gotten fixated on these big, vast fields of grass that look like a golf course fairway. That doesn't do it for me. And you got to really start thinking about how you can work in some landscaping, some different textures, flowers, colors, all that kind of stuff. And then you won't have to have bang up looking grass at all times. And Pat has that down pat. No pun intended. But Joe, I think next time if Pat gives us his blessing, we show off some of his flower beds because
Yeah.
if people can't get good ideas from what he's got going on in his back lawn, then they need to get their eyes checked, right, Joe?
Yeah, no, I agree.
Hey,
Until next time.
Hey, remind folks, Joe, one more time how they can send their pictures in to us, and just
Yeah.
know that if we have a lot of them, we usually won't put so many in one show. We'll kind of hang on to them so we don't ever run out. But Joe, how can they send them to us?
So you can email Travis at mybudgetlawn@gmail.com, or you can Instagram me, DM me, which is probably the easiest way. I can easily download them to my phone from there. It's Water Boy Productions, just like you see in the chat tonight. That's my Instagram handle. My DMs are open. I don't block comments, so all comments are welcome. So go please drop it in the DMs.
Oh, DeMay, you're bringing up the elephant in the room,
In the room, yeah.
and you just had to. You couldn't resist, DeMay. Hey, stick around, DeMay. Hey,
Yeah.
people think we hate each other, but we really don't. It's good to have you here, Ryan. Thanks for popping in on the show. Hey, Joe and I in the pre-scalp a couple weeks ago, I couldn't decide if I was having buyer's remorse or not, because I took my small equipment in, my string trimmer and my edger, or not my edger. I don't have an edger. Who edges with an edger, Joe? If you're not using your string trimmer to edge, you're not a real lawn guy, right? The machismo is, you'll hear people. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding, folks. Don't get upset, okay? It's just a joke. So I had taken my small engines in to get a tune up on them. I go down to my favorite local hardware store in Fayetteville, Arkansas, and it's a great time to go visit them down there and get some work done. And while I had my string trimmer in, I thought, you know what? I want to get one of those new. They're not new. I think they've been out for like 5 or
Yeah.
6 years. The steel
Oh,
line.
Yeah, the Speed Feed
This
brand's been out for years, many years.
new to me, and I thought, I want to get one of those put on there. My dad has one on his steel trimmer, and I thought, you know, how bad could it be? So I said, go ahead and throw one on there. That was on. It was 2 Mondays ago, and during the pre-scalp, I got to asking Joe about his thoughts on those like auto feed, speed feed trimmer
Yeah,
heads.
yeah.
And Joe, tell him what you told me, and this is where I started almost
I,
regretting my decision,
I,
and I hadn't even used it yet.
yeah. I mean, like me and Travis were texting back and forth about it, and I know we talked about it on before the show a week or two ago, and I just told him that the Speed Feed, it's a thicker head, like it's just thicker. I just felt like they were always heavier, because when you're holding up that weed whacker, and that head is heavy. I mean, it gets to you, especially like we never use stick edgers. We always edge with our string trimmer, weed whacker, whatever you want to call it. So we always liked a lighter, weed whacker string trimmer, just because we're holding it up longer to edge the sidewalks and the curb lines and things like that. But I don't know. I just experience comes with feeding the cord in there and things like that. So you could play the video if you
Yeah,
want.
and I got to tell you one thing. Look, I worked one summer just a few times with a friend that used to own a lawn care business, and he would ask me if I could help him out from time to time. And this dude could string trim. I mean, that string was like an extension of his arm and his fingertip. And I've never seen anybody could do it quite like him until I've seen some of these videos of Joe. Joe's really freaking good at using a string trimmer. And if you don't believe me, I'll show you. But first, he's going to show us how he loads this bad boy up.
Yeah, so the Speed Feed is on the right. So the Speed Feed, you feed the cord all the way through, and then you connect the two ends together to make sure that they're even. And then you got to come there. And obviously, my video is sped up, but it does not take you that long to feed your regular cord up and make it nice and tight. I mean, he's got to use two hands. He's got to crank it together. Obviously, his video is over. Mine is almost over now. But I don't know. I just think the Speed Feed is a little bit bigger. Like I said, you can see it's like a little bit thicker. I don't know. I've cut many lawns in my day. I don't think I'll maybe go to the Speed Feed if I have to, if it's the only thing that I can't buy the other kind anymore. But I don't know. I'm just used to doing the cord. I might run out of cord maybe twice a year, 3 times a year at most.
Jeez. So I misled you there. I gave you a false promise. I was thinking of Joe's his short that he posted today. This was just him loading the trimmer line. Go to Joe's channel when we get done with the show tonight. Watch his short, his YouTube short of him edging the sidewalk at his house with a string trimmer. I mean, it's precision personified. It looks really good.
Yeah, so I just old school versus new school. Hey, it's whatever you like. I mean, I don't know. Mine obviously comes with experience, but it's really not that hard to string trim these up.
So Joe, I was kind of starting to regret my decision when Joe was like, "Oh, we tried those one time. I didn't really care for them." But see how Joe, yours, let me go back on that. Yours, you only connect the string trimmer line on one side, like, and then as you spin it, you're guiding it through the two channels, right?
There's no two channels. It's just one channel. There's no top and bottom. You're using one whole length of cord. Like I use maybe a couple arm lengths of cord, and then I feed that all the way through, connected at the end, like I was showing there, and then I'm feeding it through. So there's no two channels. It's just one channel, and then you're just guiding it through to make it nice and tight. And then that's it. I mean, it's pretty easy to do. Then you line up these little nipple things so that it kind of feeds through easier. I mean, it's really not that hard. I mean,
so when I told Joe that the old steel one that I was using had the two channels, and you had to cut off two pieces of trimmer line, and then you had to roll each one. I mean, they're a nightmare. I mean, so when I told him that that's what I was using, he kind of made me feel a little bit better, because he was like, "Oh no, we would never use one of those." So that brings me to what are my thoughts on the speed feed, Joe? Because I've used it twice now. I can't remember what it is. It's the Steel C6. I don't know. I don't
Yeah,
remember the
but
names of these things.
yeah,
But it's the same thing. I did not notice it's probably a little bit beefier, but I didn't notice it shortly into using it. Like I think if you put
yeah,
both of them side by side, you would go, "Oh, that one's a little bit bigger." But once I got going, it felt exactly the same as the one before. But what I did like about it is the old one, the bump where you bump it to let out some more trimmer line. The
yeah,
bump on the old one was a lot taller and smaller, where smaller around. Where
yeah.
the new one is not very tall and it's very big around. So
Hmm.
it's almost the size of the bottom of the trimmer head. And what I liked
Yeah,
about
yeah,
that is
yeah,
when you're doing your trimming along like mulch beds and sidewalks and patio or your patio and all that kind of stuff, it's better at kind of floating or gliding across the ground, especially in those uneven spots. That other head, that taller bump, when I would be running it across there, I couldn't get the trimmer head too far to the ground, and then it would hit like a high spot, and then my trimmer line would dip down into the grass, and it would just scar it up really, really badly. So I kind of like it. I kind of
yeah.
like it. I think it'll just fall right into place as far as comfort goes. And you said something earlier, Joe, that and I saw it in the chat. It's like for a lot of these things, folks, it's really what you're comfortable with.
Yeah.
Some
I mean,
people
yeah,
refuse
I,
to edge with the string trimmer. They like
yeah,
using an edger. It's what you're comfortable with.
yeah. It is what it is. It's whatever.
Joe, when you're talking about string trimming, there's one thing you should always use your string trimmer for, and we're going to get to that in Joe's hot take tonight. I like this hot take, Joe, because it's very timely. It's always fun when the hot takes are timely.
Uh,
That's when they're timely. Okay.
yeah.
Hey,
This is probably my biggest pet peeve when it comes to anything in lawn care. Like honestly, it probably is one of my biggest. So
well, you've had some pretty big pet peeves here
yeah, well,
in your hot take, so
yeah,
those are big
yeah,
words. Hey, you'll want to stick around for that. Joe, we've been talking lots of grass, and every week we have our 5 with 5 last 5 minutes of the show. Joe has his list of top fives about different topics, and this was one he hollered at me the other day and said, "Hey, why don't we talk about summer movies? It's summer movie season. It's kind of a weird time in the film industry, Joe. You got writers on strike. You've got actors walking out of premieres. And as a matter of fact, um, some of the actors of one of these films from the summer movie season walked straight out of the premiere. What was that, Oppenheimer?
I think it was Oppenheimer, right? I think it
Is
was
that with
the
Matt Damon and what's the other guy's name?
oh crap. The guy from Peaky Blinders. I forget his name now. He's in a lot of Christopher Nolan movies. The main actor. I can't even think of his name now.
Got that
But yeah,
really defined jawline, doesn't he?
yeah, he does. Yeah. He was in it.
Have you seen any of these, Joe?
I haven't seen any of them. I love Christopher Nolan movies. I mean, just about I haven't seen that one movie called Tenet that he did. I still want to see that one. I haven't seen that one yet.
He's
Um,
by far the best
he's just
the best director of
uh
Lawn Man. I mean Batman. His Batmans were
Batman.
the best with
Oh
Christian
yeah,
Bale. They were the best.
without a doubt. I mean, Heath Ledger, Joker, legendary,
So
epic. But
what is the plot line behind Oppenheimer?
it's basically the development of the atomic bomb. Oppenheimer was like the main head scientist or whatever he was, physicist, whatever he was. Uh, he was like the main person behind it, and it takes place. I think they did they build it in Los Alamos, New Mexico. I think it was. So it's like the whole coming of making the bomb and everything. I think Emily Blunt's in it. I think she plays his wife. Matt Damon. We said. Um, it looks really good. I mean, apparently there wasn't a lot of CGI done. He likes a lot doing as much of the explosives and different things,
Like
with
in
real.
the Batman with Heath Ledger
Yeah.
when he was when the hospital blew up, that
Yeah, that
wasn't
was
supposed to
real. Yeah.
happen. Like
Yeah, yeah,
it didn't trigger the explosives didn't trigger at the right time, and when he sits there
yeah.
and starts banging on, that was like
That's
not
just like
scripted, and it was
no.
just yeah. I mean, they had one chance, so he knew
Yeah.
that building was supposed to blow up. You got to keep rolling.
Yeah, that was the great Barbie obviously is about Barbie. I mean, I hate 2 hours of watching Margot Robbie. It's not a bad deal, but
Or you could watch about I don't know, man. If I'm gonna watch a Margot Robbie movie, it's hard to pass up Wolf of Wall Street.
yeah, true,
Oh
true.
my
I
gosh!
mean,
But
even though she wasn't in it the whole time, but there's certain selective scenes in there.
Barbie, I saw today. I love timing. I told you that your hot take tonight times out just right. I saw today a news story that Oppenheimer and Barbie have resulted in the highest box office sales for AMC movie theaters in
Wow,
their 105-year history, like
wow,
since they came out. Now, I read that really quickly, and my memory is not. Long story short, regardless of the dollar figure, those two movies alone have resulted in record numbers for AMC movie theaters
hmm.
over the last couple weeks since they were released. Hey, I got a funny
Yeah,
story for you, not to derail you on the movies, but Oppenheimer being about the atomic bomb. So, when I was
yeah,
a reporter down in Florida for a couple years, had to go, aside from my weather anchor position, I had to go do some general assignment reporting. And my first two interviews that I did on the job, these are like really weak flexes. And I've been told before in the past, oh, wow, that's a really stretch at a flex. But I'm I'm flexing humorously because I get the humor and it's almost a flex as a joke.
yeah.
But my first ever interview that I did, and forgive me if I've told these stories, was I
No,
interviewed.
I
Have you
don't
ever
think you
heard of
did.
Sister Schubert's rolls? They come in the little aluminum pan.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
interviewed Sister Schubert's sister.
Okay, okay.
And then my second interview, I went to go interview the grandson of one of the pilots on the Enola Gay who clicked the button to drop the atomic
Wow,
bomb over Hiroshima,
wow,
Japan.
wow.
So I've told those stories before, and they're like, "Oh, wow, you're really trying to flex with that." I'm like, "No, I'm really trying to laugh at how pathetic of a flex it is." But those were my first two interviews. I mean, I thought it was
Wow.
kind of cool at the time, but I mean, this
Yeah.
is, but yeah, could you imagine having to do that? And I asked him questions about like
Nah.
how does his grandfather feel about it and things of that nature. And that was the job. Those were his orders, and that's what he had to go do, and he fulfilled his duties in the
Yeah,
military.
we
So
I talked to one of our sales reps this week. We do a lot of military work at my company, and this guy was a former sergeant in the army, and he was 10 years on active duty in Afghanistan and part of Iraq. And the stories that he was telling me, I was just like, wow. Like I just you got to have some balls to be in the army in any kind of service. Like it was just crazy the stories that the armor he was wearing, the different things he saw, the people. Like I just I could pick his brain for hours, and that kind of leads me into the Sound of Freeman. Freeman.
Freeman, Morgan Freeman. Hey,
I'm thinking of Morgan Freeman.
before you talk about that, Joe, I need to
Yeah,
apologize. I meant to apologize earlier. Hart, we will get to your friends' appreciation posts as soon as possible. Thank you. Okay, man. We'll get there. Love you. Mean it. All right. Carry on, Joe.
yeah. So I mean, actually, honestly, the movie that I want to see the most is the Sound of Freedom movie because of what it pertains to the trafficking of kids and just how low of life you have to be to do anything to any kid because they're innocent human beings. Um, you know, it's just and like obviously it's been very controversial with the politics and things like that and the movie has grossed over
Well,
$100 million
what is
now.
not controversial, Joe?
I don't understand why it needs to be controversial. I mean,
Apparently, Barbie. I saw something where people were saying it's a major feminist movie and how all men are bad, and then, of course, Jason Aldean's most recent song. Everything is going to be controversial. I mean, there's really no way around it.
no, there's not, and it's a shame because it's a good message that there's these things that are happening out there, and there's things that are happening in our own lawn community that none of us were aware of until this past weekend. That not everything is what you see on YouTube, and I,
And that's something I've gotten a lot of flack in the past because, and I'm not trying to compare apples to oranges here or apples to apples, but I ask questions, and sometimes just asking questions turns you into a bad guy. But we should all be asking questions at some point or another because, as you just said, Joe, things aren't always what they seem online. It's really easy to be fooled.
oh yeah.
Hey, you gotta love Jim Caviezel in The Sound of. I've not seen The Sound of Freedom yet, but I love Jim Caviezel. He was Jesus Christ in The Passion of the Christ. I like him when he was in The Count of Monte Cristo.
Yeah,
that was a heck of a film.
That's a good movie.
But he has really set himself kind of out of the spotlight in Hollywood because he's chosen to do a lot more of these films that shed light on important issues, a lot of times faith-based issues, and I do like him as an actor. So I do want to see this. This is something that this is a film. After I saw the buzz around it, I went and watched the trailer and thought, man, I have got to go watch that because these are real issues. They're out there. They're in our world. I'm in a classroom for a profession as a teacher. We have to do professional development on these things to make sure that we are educated to the point to where we might be able to spot signs of things going on and be a resource to stop these things before they happen or get too far. So, and which is what this whole movie's about, right? A guy that saw something happening and he didn't just stand back on the sidelines and say, I'm going to let this happen and ignore it and turn the other way. I'm going to do something about it. And it really changed the direction of his entire life.
Yeah, and I hope,
Okay, look, it's a Lawncast, folks. If you have not figured out yet, you're showing us who you are and how often you've been here. If you're whining and bitching and moaning and complaining in the chat about this, not just talking about lawns, you're telling us right now that you aren't a supporter of this live stream. You're telling us that because if you had hung around for 5 seconds before, you would know that we don't just talk about grass. That is not our entire lives. If that's your life, hit the dusty trail, okay?
Yeah, and I said it last week. Life is too short. I mean, someone at my work, their brother died. He was 55. I mean, there's more to life than just grass.
We are friends that
keeping up with it.
We are friends that get on here and talk about lawns because we love lawns. We talk about beer and food and movies and sports. We talk about these things, okay? Okay, great. Thanks for the $2, but that's not, no one's paying us to be your guru or knight in shining armor about lawn care. Neither of us is traditionally or professionally educated in lawn care. We're a bunch of jokers that like taking care of our lawns because we spend time at our homes with our families, our wives and kids, and we like to get on the internet once a week and talk about it. You want the honest truth? See, that's another thing. Like, too many people get like wamboozled and fooled by so many clowns on the internet, as we've seen this past weekend and across many other channels in this lawn care community. And for some reason, it's the guys who are real, that what you see in front of the camera, what you see is what you get. There are no games being played here. We're not hiding anything, okay? We're not look, you can say
thanks for $5.
You can say you're joking now, but look, I know from experience that every time we end this live stream, if I showed you my analytics, people whine and complain, and I lose subscribers over this live stream. Okay?
Ball Shark in the chat.
I've never seen you in the comments of my videos. So don't come in here complaining, okay, when you're not getting what you want, because the people that are in the chat every week, they're getting what they want. Okay,
Travis.
Yeah, it just drives me nuts.
I
know. We're real, Joe. The people in our chat are real. Okay,
and that's what pisses me off the most about this whole thing that happened over the weekend is honestly, me and you have really gotten to know each other the last couple months, and
you get rewarded for being someone fake in the world we live in. If you're real, people bitch and moan about it.
And I think you see what we are now. I think that's what I like about the live stream is you really get to see someone's personality more in a live stream than, as opposed to a video where you can do a ton of edits, a ton of takes, to get it perfect.
Or Joe, oh wow, well you obviously weren't very memorable. Or you join a live stream for 4 hours on Friday nights, and you hand over $100 bills because some guy that acts like he knows how to run a golf course academy is becoming rich off of answering your dumb questions. We don't do that crap here. Go pay somebody else to answer your questions on Friday nights. That ain't us. Do you want us to pretend to be that way? Give me $50 in the chat right now, and I will answer your question right now. $50.
Oh, Travis, I love it. You're taking my hot take away from me.
12. You're at 12. 38 more, and you can ask away. But until then, I'm just kicking it, okay? I'm not making money off of you people in this live stream, okay?
There's other channels.
It's working, right? Go to Ron. Ron has quit making regular lawn care videos, long form videos, because he makes all of his money that he wants out of your pockets one night a week on a live stream.
Or you can go and fund other channels while they're in prison, for really despicable, fucking horrible things that they did to kids. I mean, if you're into that, there's another channel out there in the lawn care community. By all means, you can do that. Me,
and it goes back to me talking about asking questions. Like, I've asked questions about guys like Doc and guys like Ron, and I ask questions about lots of other creators, and a lot of times that's people saying, "Oh, you're like throwing shade, or you're like throwing punches, or you're doing this and you're doing that." Like, you should be asking questions, people. If you're not asking questions, you're going to get majorly disappointed 99% of the time.
All right, it's my turn for a hot take, Travis. All right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. The camera is on me, not you. I'm running the show. So quit whining about the question. I thought this was a grass live stream. Oh my gosh. Oh,
Ellie, you can ask a question about the Luba. I'm gonna tell you it sucks. So don't waste your time on that. All right, let's go to my hot take.
All right.
Now, I want to get all worked up now, Ooh.
But look, Joe.
Yes. Travis.
What you see is what you get. Okay.
Yeah.
It's not always that way, but I can assure you, here on the Budget Wooder Show and Wooder Boy Productions and Budget Lawns, what you see is what you get. Hey, Dino's in the house. Dino, what's up, buddy? Sorry if you've been in there and I missed you. I apologize. I was kind of on a roll. All right, let's go to Joe's hot take tonight. That was an impromptu hot take of mine. Joe, I couldn't agree with you more on this one, my man.
Clean the damn curb. Throw the damn towel.
What is that off of? That's a Rocky. I could see it in my head, but I couldn't figure it out.
Throw the damn towel. I love that meme. That's like my favorite meme. So this is actually my development. When you come into my development, there's like 2 islands that like divide the road, and then you come up a little bit more, and there's this house. It's a corner property. My house is a corner property as well, but this person never, ever, ever weed whacks or whatever you want to call it, string trims the weeds coming out of the curb, and I just hate it. I hate it, hate it, hate it. This this
Joe,
is
I'm
my
biting my
biggest pet
tongue.
peeve.
You got to let me say
Um,
this when I get back,
oh my
okay?
god, I can't stand like it's so aesthetically unpleasing coming into the neighborhood,
Oh my
and
gosh. This guy
uh,
is really making the show for us tonight. Thanks, Woos. Keep going, Joe.
um, yeah, this is like I'm tempted to I'm about to go down there maybe this weekend to just take my string trimmer. It'll take me 2 minutes and just go across the curb line there and just make it so much cleaner. I even do it. The two islands that I talked about when you first come into my development, the township, they take care of mowing it. Sometimes if they don't mow it and it just looks bad, I go and bring my mower down and I cut it because it just like it just to me it's appearance. When you come into a neighborhood and you have houses that just look like shit, it just takes
It's
everybody
like
else's
going and
house
getting a
down.
haircut, but not
Yeah,
trimming the junk off your neck.
I talked about it early on that there was a couple of houses down from me. The house went abandoned for a little while, and then somebody bought it. I was cutting it because they weren't keeping the bank wasn't keeping up with it, and we live in a pretty fairly nice neighborhood. I mean, all the houses are pretty, for the most part, well kept. Actually, the guy that lives across the street from him probably has one of the nicest lawns in the development, and waters it, fertilizes it. I mean, it looks really, really great, really pristine. And then you got to look at this shit across the street. It's just like, and you know what? It's what, and the funny part is he weed whacked like half of it because it even extends down even further.
And he
And
just
he like
said, "Oh, the
and
heck with it."
he's like, frig this, fuck this, I'm going inside. It was probably hot, and he's just like,
Dude,
ah,
it does.
I
So
hate it. I hate it. Just like if you don't want to take care of your lawn, like either hire somebody, ask for help. Like they had, I know there's a couple young kids that are in that court. There's a court right there, and I who knows? Probably no kids these days. They probably don't cut lawns anyway. But
I
I don't
will.
know. It just looks bad.
So mine had gotten really, really bad. So in my old neighborhood was in a bigger town. We had street sweepers and stuff that would come in like every few weeks, and the curbs and everything always stayed really, really clean. That's just what happens when you live in a bigger town with some more money. Well, this neighborhood's a little bit older. Our house is new in it, but the neighborhood's been here a while. And mine had gotten really, really bad. Of course, I waited till they finished the front lawn project to do anything, and it had gotten really bad. But once they finished that, it was on the top of my to-do list. And I had seen a couple neighbors down the street who do theirs, and theirs just stood out over the others that were unkept. I mean, it's amazing how much better your curb appeal comes from something that is so minuscule. But I finally walked from one end of my property line to the other, and I took a weed killer through there because you
Yeah.
can string trim it down over and over and over and over. They keep
Yeah.
coming back. So I took
Yeah.
a weed killer down there, and I just walked all the way down it, and I made sure I covered every single weed. I let it sit for like 5 or 6 days or so, and those things got scorched on that concrete with the 100-degree temperatures and blazing sunshine, and those things were toast. I took my string trimmer through there; those things just like came up. I mean, once you've killed them,
Yeah.
wiped all those things out, it is amazing how much better it looks. Like little things like that. I mean, that was like a huge sense of accomplishment, and it had nothing to do with the grass, nothing to do with landscaping, nothing lawn care related, other than just making sure my street in front of my house wasn't unkept. Because
Yeah.
I think I
I
saw that. Who
I
was
even
that? John L. said, "You got to take pride in the appearance," and he's exactly right.
yeah.
And that's
And
part of the equation.
I'm one of those neighbors when I'm like edging along my sidewalk. I mean, I just don't go to the the property line of my yard. I'll go a little bit more just to like make it look a little bit neater. You know, if I see a weed in my next door neighbor's curb line, I can take the extra steps and go and whack it real quick. You know, like it's not a big deal. It's just I don't know. I hate it. I'm really close to the point where I'm just gonna take care of it
It's
myself.
funny because you picked this.
You
Throw in
know,
the towel. Throw the damn towel. That the dude threw in the towel on that. He was like, "Oh,
and
half
he's
of it."
he's a young guy. He's probably like my age.
But
That
dude, if
you
you're,
know that
do y'all have
lives there.
street sweepers come through there at all? Because like ours does not
They
have
do,
when I
but
street trim,
they don't. They literally don't do shit. Like
it throws rocks, little rocks and pebbles
Yeah.
up. You got to make sure you're walking the right direction because I started walking my normal way, and my gosh, it was throwing rocks all into my shins. I was like getting little pelts all over me. I ended that game really, really, really quickly. Hey, it's Joe. I said earlier, I love when things time out right. I saw, and I don't watch a lot of YouTube shorts, but if I do, I like watching comedians. I watched one today of Ricky Gervais. You know who Ricky Gervais is?
Oh,
The comedian.
Yeah, he's great. I love him. Yeah,
He was so awesome. So it made me think because our I don't know who Woos is, boy, girl, I don't know. Our friend Woos, kind of friend, I guess. He said, "I'm watching you guys. I'm allowed to have an option." I don't know if he meant to say have an opinion, have an option. Either way, I watched a YouTube short today of Ricky Gervais. He was talking about how people take everything so personally on Twitter. He said, "I've got 12 million Twitter followers, and when I tweet something, people take it so personally." Oh, you meant that you have an opinion. You can have an opinion, doesn't mean I care about it or Joe cares about it. I mean, because this show, no,
I care about Woos.
no, listen, because this show doesn't have to be for you. If it's not for you, that's okay. And that's what I'm talking about Ricky Gervais. He said, when he tweets something out, people take it so personally. He said, "I've got 12 million followers. Everything I say is not going to be okay for everybody." He said it's like walking into a town square and there's a bulletin board hanging up advertising for guitar lessons. And somebody walks up and goes, "I don't want guitar lessons. Oh my gosh, I don't want to take guitar lessons." And they find the phone number off the flyer and they call it and, "Hello? Are you giving guitar lessons?" "Well, yes, I am." "Oh, I don't want your freaking guitar lessons." And then that's when Ricky Gervais was like, "Then you can go. This isn't for you. Guitar lessons aren't for you. This live stream might not be for you. That's okay. No worries. No harm, no foul. If we're talking too much about movies or sports or food, if you don't like that kind of stuff, Ron is coming up in 3 days and he will talk about grass while he makes $1,000 on Friday night and you're sitting at home twiddling your thumb with your ho-hum lawn and ho-hum equipment and you're just feeding him super chat so he can run the Golf Course Lawn Academy and get rich off you goobers. All right, so there you go. I just thought that was perfect. Ricky Gervais nailed it. If it's not for you,
He's got a great Netflix show.
move on, okay? Move on.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's okay. Like, that's fine. Okay, Joe.
Yes. Did
Why-
we get
why
through
is-
everything?
What I don't know what you mean though. It is though. What is it though? This is the best live stream of mine. It should be. You've been so instrumental in giving us the content. Thank you. We should be bowing down to you and sucking up to you and stroking your ego because you're just so awesome. All right, Joe. Are you still there?
I'm still here.
All right. Anyway.
All right.
Hey.
Did we get through everything?
Yes. Yes. Hey, there is one thing I do want to say. The elephant was in the room. I know somebody mentioned with some of the news that we heard in the lawn care community over the past week. We don't have to say names. We don't have to address the issue specifically. And I say that because I think there's one person who has already said it about as precisely as you can, who has voiced a very rational opinion, thoughts, viewpoint, take, if you will, on it. And for all the people that think we've had beef in the past, DeMay was in here just a little bit earlier. If you want to see a really good summation of, Joe, would you agree, our thoughts on the topic, go watch the most recent live stream on the Grass Factor. What was the title of that, Joe? I think it was Thirsty Thursday.
It was their Sunday burn and return.
Yeah, but I think they changed the title of it to
something about permagreen or
permagreen, discount permagreen or something. Go check out Matt Martin's take on that. I think he nailed it. in mine and Joe's private conversations, we said a lot of the same things, and there's really no point in us pouring more into it than what he has already said. He said it. It's out there. And I would have to agree with him wholeheartedly. So you want to see kind of our take on it as well. I can't say it any better than he did. So I'm going to let his take in their most recent live stream on the Grass Factor say it for us. And that's where we'll end on that. I don't know if DeMay's still in the chat, but DeMay, let Matt know because he nailed it. He nailed it from start to finish. And for all the beef we've had in the past, I cannot disagree with him there. All right, Joe, 5 with 5. We're 1 hour 10 in minus the pre-scout for the folks that don't know what the pre-scout is. So we've got a little time left. So go for it. You said it was good. It better be good.
So tonight I said it was 90s theme. So it is my top 5 childhood toys from the 90s. So I was born in 1990. So just to give you guys an idea. So I'm thinking like, obviously I can't think of like
you were 90 or 91?
90.
90. Ooh, right on the cusp.
Yeah. So since this kind of pertains to Barbie because, Barbie was just released. So I figured, maybe toy related, Barbie, so is a toy, obviously, a doll. So
where's Ben at? The Ole Miss logo, Ben, where's he at?
That's a good question.
He's usually good on you for these 5 of 5s. All right, start at number 5.
So number 5 is Power Rangers. Yeah, Power Rangers was really big growing up. I was a Power Ranger for Halloween one year. I was 2
or 3 years ago?
Yeah.
Well, you've got kids now, so I can see you dressing up. Wait, is your family one of those where y'all dress up like a theme?
No. We're not that one in the neighborhood. There's another family that does that. Number 4 is Pokemon cards. So obviously
those are huge now.
They are huge. My kids are into it, and I kind of wish I saved them because it would save me money from rebuying them. But yeah, Pokemon cards was big. I just can still remember summer days, playing the game, and yeah. So number 4,
of course, Logan Paul brought those back into when he had that Charizard card that he carried around everywhere.
Yeah, I saw that. Number 3 is Game Boy Color. So Game Boy obviously came out.
Those 5 years made a huge difference between me and you. 1985 and 1990, huge difference. So
I could still remember getting Game Boy Color, and I got the little light that you could attach to it so it could light it up at nighttime. So like Pokemon was a big game on Game Boy Color when I know I had a Tetris one as well. But yeah, Game Boy, man. It was a great game. Great. That was like...
See, my kids have my twin brother's old original Game Boy in the original case with Tetris. And I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah. So number 2 is...
Hey, Joe, George is here. Have you talked to George since he hooked you up with he and Wang?
No, not yet. Thanks, George, for hooking me up with Wang. I appreciate that.
That didn't sound right. Go on, number 2 before you get derailed.
Number 2, not everyone's gonna agree with it, but it's Bop It. Do you remember the game Bop It?
Bop
It, Twist It, Pull It.
When I'm thinking of toys, I'm thinking of totally different toys in the 80s.
Bop It. We used to play that for hours, and I mean, we used to.
What was it? Bop It, hit it, twist it, yeah,
pull it, yeah. Like. And I tried looking for the original, and the originals are really expensive. Like the original, the black one with the green button in the middle, and it was like the longer.
Twist it.
Pop
it. Yeah.
So I'm thinking about getting one for my kids because I just love that game. And then number 1, I'm a 90s kid. So what video game console is it going to be?
Huh?
What video game console is it going to be from the 90s?
Did you
number 1
Super Nintendo? Or are you thinking NES?
No, yeah, at Nintendo 64.
Oh no!
I can
See, I had the regular NES and then the Super Nintendo and then the 64.
No, so for me, my first video game console was Nintendo 64. I can still remember that Christmas
Jeez.
opening it up, and I got Madden. I got obviously
GoldenEye was the
Mario,
bomb.
GoldenEye. Oh my God, we spent hours playing GoldenEye in the summertime, especially. Like
So
and
it is amazing.
that's just that game, and then it's kind of make the comeback in a way. GoldenEye. I know that like
Everything retro has made a comeback.
yeah, I know that GoldenEye people are still like playing that now, but that game was just great.
See, I was born in '85, so me and Western Mass are a little bit closer in age. And my first one was the NES, and we played like Duck Hunt and NES Golf and regular Mario. And then we got the 64, and that's when, or not the 64, the Super Mario Kart, and
So
a lot of the Super Nintendo games were like incredible. And then when the 64 came out, I still contend that the 64, and I'm not a gamer, but
couple
Mario 64 was the best game ever.
couple honorable mentions were the Princess Cut said it, the Omega yo-yos. I remember
Ooh, I
those.
had a Fireball, baby. I still got
Yeah,
one.
fire, but yeah. Perfectioner. Do you remember that game?
Perfectioner.
It was like a game where you had to put the things in the shapes and before it like popped.
Oh yeah, Pop Goes Perfection.
Yeah, I don't know why I wrote down that, but anyway, that was a game I remember playing. Street Sharks. Street Sharks was like a TV show, but then it was a action figure too. Connects was big. It was actually I looked it up. It was released in '93, and I remember building like the Ferris wheel, the roller coaster out of the Connects, and then Vortex football.
Hmm.
Remember the Nerf Vortex football?
It's always changed a lot because if I was born in '85, I was 5 when you were born. Because I remember the toys like Teddy Ruxpin, the teddy bear that you would put cassette tapes in and he would read books to you and his mouth would move. It was kind of a creepy toy if you
That
look
is
back
a
on it.
very creepy toy.
But Western Mass Turf, you remember the Teddy Ruxpin?
Super Soaker. I remember
Have you
Tamagotchis. Those were oh my god,
have you
those were
heard
big.
the story of the Super Soaker? The guy that the engineer or some dude that invented that? Like it was just he had the idea one day when he was like watering plants in his garden or something, and then
No,
he invented the Super Soaker, a pressurized water gun, because his hose like burst
Lincoln
on
Logs.
him. And
Yeah,
his story is incredible. I watched a video on it at one time, but he ended up selling like the patent and the rights over to a major toy manufacturer. I can't remember which toy manufacturer it was, Mattel, one of them. And he said like when he started getting royalty checks, he was like, "Oh, this is kind of cool, a little extra money." And then the next check, it was like, "Oh, dang, that's a lot." Then the next check was like, "Holy!" And then before he knew it, he was a millionaire, and he didn't do anything as far as the business side of it
yeah,
goes. He just licensed it out, and Super Soakers became probably the most popular water gun of our generation. You
yeah.
still Western Mass, you still have a Teddy Ruxpin or a Super Soaker? This is a big question. Lincoln Logs. Oh man, Lincoln Logs. Oh my gosh, Lincoln Logs were huge. We're playing a lot of the old board games with my kids. We play Guess Who, Hook, Shoots and Ladders, Candyland, all those
My
old
kid,
games.
my oldest, he's in the Legos right now. So
Tinker Toys, there it is. That's the one I was thinking of. Tinker Toys, Lincoln
Pogs,
Logs.
yeah,
Oh man, Joe, this was a good. That was a good topic tonight.
yeah, yeah.
Dang.
I mean, '90s. I wish things were so much different today, and just like social media, just you know, we talk about it. I talk about it with you sometimes. It's just social media sometimes really has ruined this generation, and it's a shame. But it's just not the same. It's not the same.
It's it's
I mean,
a
I seen when I was at this national night out tonight. I mean, I see these kids on these cell phones, and I'm just like, man, we didn't know what our friends were doing until we got home and we jumped on AIM or we actually called the person. We didn't have
well. I
a
think
cell phone to go on Snapchat and do this, and it's like,
well,
uh,
what's even when we were kids in our we looked up our role models were for me at least were athletes, And if an athlete did something bad, this was pre-social media. You know how they got ridiculed for being poor examples, bad role models, bad leaders for the young generation. It is scary who their role models, who their leaders are, who their idols are on social media. And they're not even like real celebrities. They're just some crazy kid that lives in on the West Coast that does really stupid pranks and derogatory things, or now it's all these young girls that are using a particular website that pays them lots of money, and I guess they don't think about the future that they're going to have one day, perhaps if they want to get married and have kids. I mean, these kids have learned that it's really easy to get rid of your morals, your ethics, and sell your soul, and you can make lots of money. I mean, it's really easy. Making money is not the hard part. Earning money is not the hard part, I should say. I had a professor at college that if you ever said, hey, how much money do you make as an economist? Well, I don't know if you're making money or breaking the law. So he always said, you got to earn money. Earning lots of money is not the hard part. So that's why their role models, the value of their role models, in my opinion, is going like this. Because my role model was Michael Jordan. I loved Michael Jordan. And you always heard, well, Michael Jordan didn't make the basketball team when he was in middle school or junior high or whatever it was. And he had to work his butt off. Or Pistol Pete Maravich. I remember watching The Birth of a Legend, the Pistol Pete story. You know, those were our role models. Now their role model's a kid who acts like an idiot online but makes lots of money, so I'll go do that too. Maybe I'm way off. I don't know. Just my observations. What do you think, Joe?
No, I agree. I mean, it kind of, plays into
Hey, see you, Dino. Thanks, bub.
it kind of plays into the whole elephant in the room thing tonight. I mean, it's just like we said, it's not everything you see on the internet is what it seems, and I honestly wish there was background checks with a lot of things that you see online, because the things like this past weekend that person would not be allowed on, even for the fact that they're using a video camera for what they use against these kids for doing the same thing. And I know we didn't want to talk about it, but it just gets me worked up thinking about this scumbag is still online. And I hate to use that word, but I've been called that myself by someone. But this person is a true scumbag when it comes to what they did. And I do agree. I mean, haven't always agreed with Matt in the past with things, and we've had our beef on certain things, but if you guys want to see what actually happened, again, go check out their last video. He talks about it in depth, and I keep thinking about it. Me and Travis have been thinking about this a lot, and it's just, we have kids, we both have young kids.
And not just that. I mean, I teach daily kids around that same age group, and it's just fathomable. And
the fact that the person is using their channel for paid memberships and taking breaks for doing 6 months, which is a disgrace. I mean, it's just, that's a disgrace that you do 6 months for what you did. And to think that it's just, you giggle and you think, oh, life moves on. And believe me, I believe in second chances. My dad was a big believer in second chances with his business and the different guys that he would hire that, were into drugs and did different things. And he gave people second chances. But when it comes to kids, that, in my opinion, is the lowest of the low that you can do to anything in this world. And you need to just man up and get off and get out of our community. I'm sorry. I know this is Travis's channel, but you need to move on, and you need to move on from this community and do something else.
Joe, it's my channel.
That's all I got to say.
It's my channel, and Joe gets worked up. I get worked up. Hey, but that's part of this show. Like, and if you follow me or Joe for any length of time, like it might sound like we're offended or one of us got our feelings hurt, but at the end of the day, you're gonna have a really, really hard time offending us. But sometimes playing up on the hot takes is fun, right? We talk about that all the time here on the channel. Now, Joe, I know this isn't necessarily a hot take. What I did earlier with our friend Woos, I haven't seen Woos in a little bit, but he did say, I do want to say this, he did say that This is the best live. No, where did he said something in there? I've lost it. Oh, fan of the channel, great show. So, like, when we have those getting worked up moments, just know there's probably sometimes there's a little bit of seriousness behind them, but it's all in good fun too. Okay, it's all in good fun. I appreciate that, Woos. Oh, thanks for the $12 as well. 38 more to go, and I'll answer all your questions. But Joe, I said that because I kind of got off on that because that's part of this show. Okay, it's as real as it gets. That's our intention. That's what we set out to do from the very beginning. And I told Joe, I said, it is on my channel, and I take responsibility for anything that happens on the show. But I'm not going to censor you if you've got viewpoints and opinions. We obviously discuss things ahead of time to make sure Joe doesn't come in here like a wrecking ball with something way out of bounds and, off limits for me. But as long as we're on the same page, I'm not going to, Joe, you're free to speak whatever you want. If I disagree, I'll let you know. If I agree, I'll let you know. And I think we're both on the same page on this topic. It's just, it's tough it is tough to watch.
To swallow. It's tough to swallow. It's tough to watch. I hope people open up their eyes, and it's a shame that a lot of our comments are being blocked from the channel, and the people that are brainwashed don't realize who they're watching or what they're watching. And hopefully it'll eventually get across to them. And, it's a shame. It's a shame, but you know what?
Harpo, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, hopefully the good change will be coming soon. And again, people will wake up.
Well, and what we can do, Joe, is all we can do is we can just keep being who we are on our separate channels, who we are here on the Budget Wooder Show, 9:00 Eastern, 8 Central on Tuesday nights. And hopefully, despite kind of the little shadow that was cast over the community over the past few days, we can help brighten it back up just a little bit. Is Harpo, are you trying to... Harpo's Chicken and Waffles trying to get me going again about not talking laundry. I'm not going there again. So I wanted to say that a while ago. Like, you'll hear me go kind of off on those little rants from time to time. And when I speak about some of those things, Woo's kind of got it going, and Harpo might be trying to get me going. But I also want other people who tune into the show some other point in time to hear those things, okay? We're not just communicating to the people in the live chat. We're also communicating to people who might watch the show after it streams, who might watch it in 3 weeks. I want those people to hear it too, because I don't want them to hang around if this isn't what they're looking for. Go spend your time wisely, find something more valuable for you, and we all win that way. We get to hang out with friends who want to be here for this type of conversation along with lawn care, and you don't have to sit around for it. So that's the end of what I'm saying about that. All right, definitely rewatch it in the AM. Hey, Joe, I'm done rambling. I say that. I've already said it once. What are your final words for us tonight? It looks like we've kind of hit our threshold of where we've been wrapping things up here lately. You got anything else to finish up with?
No. Just like we said, go rewatch this show like you can. It helps the channel, helps the show. Go check out the Grass Factor. Go check out what Matt said about this past weekend. Help out their channel as well, and go check it out. And and hopefully people can open up their minds, and we'll see you in 2 weeks, because we need a little break, and we got some things we got to take care of. So we'll come back with some hopefully maybe I know it's lawn renovation season, so maybe we'll have some stories about lawn renovations. I know I have a couple of things that I've been wanting to talk about with lawn renovations. So we'll see you guys in 2 weeks.
And just remember, wondering about things, asking questions does not make you a drama starter. It doesn't make you like someone who always is, throwing shots fired. It just makes you curious and, in my opinion, a little bit better, more informed and aware of your surroundings. But you don't have to ask a lot of questions on this show, because what you get out of me and Joe on the Budget Wooder Show is what you get. Hey, y'all, don't forget, 2 weeks from today is when we'll be back. No show next week. We got to take a break next week. We'll be back 2 weeks. That is August 15th, 9 o'clock Eastern Time, 8 o'clock Central, here on the Budget Lawns channel for the Budget Wooder Show. Go subscribe to Joe's channel, Wooder Boy Productions. But until then, hey, this is where we bid you farewell. We thank y'all so much for your support. It really does mean a lot to us. We would not be here without you, could not do it without you. And we will see you next time. Peace.